In the 8th year of waiting for Ethan to marry me, he came home with a fiancée. They stood hand in hand in our living room, smiling so brightly that my mind went blank. Probably sensing the awkwardness, my mom tugged me over to them. "What are you staring at? That's Ethan, don't you recognize him? Say hello." Ethan chuckled politely and greeted me. "Luna, long time no see. How have you been lately?" I answered with silence. Hidden behind my back, my left hand twisted the plain band off the finger it had circled for 8 years. Then I looked at the woman beside him and pulled a smile that felt uglier than tears. "Nice to meet you, sister-in-law. Please subscribe to this channel and tell us in the comments where you're listening before we continue." The living room was so quiet I could almost hear my heart shatter. I stood woodenly, swallowing tears. My mom, warm as ever, ushered them to the couch while she fired off questions. "Ethan, how did you and Grace meet? I was just chatting with your mom last week. She was worried you'd never try a blind date, and now you're getting married." Ethan glanced at me, then answered, "When I first went abroad, Grace helped me a lot. We were classmates, so we got close. We've only been together a short while. At first the relationship felt shaky, so we didn't tell my mother." Mom nodded approvingly. "If only our Luna were as sensible as you." Suddenly she turned on me. "Every time I mention marriage she snaps, insists she already has a boyfriend, so where is he? Since Ethan and Grace are here today, why not invite your boyfriend over? Let them size him up." I had just taken a sip of water, it went down the wrong pipe and I coughed violently. Mom patted my back and scolded, "Grown woman still so clumsy, nothing but worry. Did you hear me? Bring your boyfriend home. Even an ugly bride meets the in-laws, a man can't hide forever." I drew a slow breath. We broke up. I looked at Ethan to gauge his reaction, but he avoided my eyes and jumped in to smooth things over. "Margaret, Luna's still young, no need to rush. Besides, these things can't be forced, she has to figure it out herself. When she's ready, I can introduce her to a friend I trust, you'll approve, I'm sure." Mom's grin threatened to split her face. I spoke calmly. "No, thank you. My life is my decision, don't trouble yourself. Brat." Mom delivered a fake slap and shooed me into the kitchen. As I walked away, Ethan kept explaining on my behalf, seemingly forgetting he still owed me an explanation. He had promised to come back and marry me. Yet the news that arrived was his wedding, to someone else. Only days ago we'd still been sketching a shared future. Now, thoughts tangled, tears surged. Even the soup pot seemed to share my mood, bubbling over unnoticed. When I reached for a dishcloth, Ethan appeared, snatching it from my hand. "Turn the flame off first, it's dangerous." His voice sounded strangely taut. I took the cloth back and dabbed the spilled broth, ignoring him. He acted bewildered. "What's wrong with you? You've changed, you never used to be like this." I looked up. What was I like before? Easy to fool, easy to placate? He frowned. "What do you mean? We've broken up, stop throwing tantrums, okay? Can't we talk like adults?" Before I could answer, I saw Grace heading toward the kitchen and chose silence. Had I lost my memory? 3 months ago Ethan had said only that he needed space. Neither of us had uttered the word breakup, yet continuation seemed impossible. At the start of our relationship I'd sworn that if we ever split I'd make the sky fall and ruin his life. Now I lacked even the courage to question him. Strange, when I'd done nothing wrong, why was I treading so carefully? I composed myself and smiled at Grace in the doorway. Perfect timing, dinner's ready. The meal was awkward, only Mom and Grace exchanged small talk. Dad, hopeless at chatter, confined himself to refilling Ethan's wineglass. Ethan and I sat side by side like the closest of strangers. I kept my eyes on my rice while he fussed over a shy Grace. Watching Ethan keep piling food into Grace's bowl, I froze for a second, then suddenly remembered our high school days. Back then Ethan was afraid the pressure of exams would make me skip meals, so every day he invented a new excuse to have his mother cook something different. Yet he always saved the best bites for me. Whenever we ate he would stare at me without blinking. "Watching you eat is the most healing moment of my day." Meow. A coaxing little mew pulled me out of the memory. Hamey was rubbing fawningly against Grace's ankle. I had fed him the best wet food and changed his filtered water for 3 years, and he had never once been this affectionate with me. He acted as if Grace were his real owner. Grace squealed, chopsticks clattering down. "What a sweet kitty. What's his name?" "Hamey." Ethan answered before I could. "What are you doing here?" He ruffled the cat's head and lifted him out of Grace's lap. Hamey nuzzled Ethan's chest and went limp in his arms. My mom exclaimed in delight, "I never knew Hamey minded you that well." When Luna first brought him home he drove the whole family crazy. He fussed like a toddler, always underfoot, always yelling. I begged Luna to find him another home, but she wouldn't hear of it. Looks like he was yours all along, fate brought him back. Ethan gave an apologetic smile. I probably spoiled him rotten. My mother's health wasn't great, and when I had to leave the country I was afraid a long flight would be too much, so I arranged a foster family in advance. I never expected to run into him here. He turned to me, gratitude softening his eyes. Luna, thank you for looking after him. No need to thank me. I answered with cool politeness. Ethan immediately turned back to Grace and said gently, he sheds a lot, make sure you're not allergic. Then, in a commanding tone, he told the cat, go play in your cat bed, I'll come find you after dinner. Hammy gave a disappointed little meow, as if he understood every word, patted across the rug, and curled up in his cat bed. I watched him leave so obediently and felt an inexplicable ache. In my head I muttered, ungrateful furball. When I first brought him home he occasionally granted me a friendly glance. But as time passed he must have decided I was the villain who dragged him away from Ethan. Whenever I walked in he puffed up, hissing like a maniac. He even went on a hunger strike, refusing food for days. Only after I changed jobs and stopped coming home so often did he calm down a little. But what had I done wrong? The two of us had both been abandoned by Ethan. Forget it. He doesn't understand anything. Why hold a grudge against a cat? After lunch Ethan and Grace left the invitation card on the table and walked out, shoulder to shoulder. I watched their retreating silhouettes. I wasn't as heartbroken as I'd expected, instead, breakup felt like release. The years with Ethan had been a constant exercise in self-torture. Ethan and I were separated by a 12-hour time zone gap. When he was wide awake I was asleep, when I was finally free he was deep in dreamland. Because of that time zone gap we had late-night arguments more times than I could count, and I slid into self-doubt again and again. Was I asking for too much? Was wanting him beside me a crime? Had my love become a burden to him? Company or rest, there seemed no answer. Perhaps Ethan and I were fated to miss each other all along. I thought I'd grown strong enough. That night, however, my defenses cracked under a flood of tears. I drifted off at some point and woke up long past opening hours. My phone showed a cascade of missed calls and a string of messages from Samantha. Boss, a client is obsessed with the wedding gown in the display window. Do we sell it? She's adamant, won't try anything else. Urgent, she's still waiting. Then a barrage of red, pulsing emergency emojis. Before I reached the last bubble Samantha called again. I picked up. She exhaled so hard I almost felt the whoosh through the speaker. Boss, you finally picked up, I'm dying here. Sell it. I cut her off. The gown in the display window had been my own design, cut to my measurements, kept as a personal keepsake and used only to draw traffic into the boutique. Samantha and the other assistants knew I had a long-distance boyfriend who would marry me the moment he came home. So when I gave the green light she hesitated. You sure, you okay? I'm fine. Something came up, I'll be in later. Let her try it on first, it was drafted to my size, so it may need alterations. Got it. Samantha added a few soft words of comfort before hanging up with cautious care. I know work is work, life is life, my mood shouldn't spill over onto the people around me. I thought I'd camouflaged my feelings perfectly, yet Samantha read me in a heartbeat. How come Ethan looked untouched? Is he thick-skinned or simply callous? A quick swipe of concealer muted my swollen eyes, and I rushed to the boutique. Samantha greeted me with the widest smile she could muster, as if brightness were contagious. Today she was unusually enthusiastic. Luna, you're here. The bride loves the main gown, she's trying on the full look now. We'll need to take the waist and a hair, but the rest of the measurements are spot on. And the groom's over there, he said he'd wait for you to talk price. I followed Samantha's pointing finger. A familiar silhouette filled my vision. For a second I almost bolted. But he didn't give me the chance. He turned, surprised, and called my name. Luna? The groom was Ethan. You're the manager here? I answered, awkward. Small world. Samantha's eyes lit up with instant curiosity. She chimed mischievously, I had no idea you knew our manager, what a coincidence. Let our manager give you a discount later. When she learned who Ethan really was, Samantha froze. Even her voice stammered. He's the boyfriend you said was overseas? Then, what's happening now? Her gaze snapped between Ethan and me in horror. Finally she whispered, you two, broke up? I kept my tone level. Pretty much. Don't stress. Samantha was instantly indignant. He dumps you and marries someone else right away? Total cheater. Want me to kick him and that woman out? We don't have to swallow this insult. I tapped her forehead with a laugh. No need. I may hate him, but I don't hate his money. Ooh. Samantha's grin turned sly. I get it, he can't look stingy in front of his fiancée. I'll make him bleed, leave it to me. Cheaters deserve justice. Cheat? The word made me pause. Did what Ethan did count as cheating? Maybe my idea of let's take some space was just a gentle way to break up. After all, no couple really goes 3 whole months without a single word and still calls it space. I had demanded to know why he hadn't answered me for 3 months. He said, crime's bad here, my phone was stolen, plus I've been swamped, didn't have time. Samantha muttered at my side, his new girl doesn't look like much, why pick her? I couldn't answer. I wondered the same thing. Even though I'd heard the reason last night, I still thought it sounded flimsy. Feelings grew over time? Yeah, right. I'd known Ethan far longer than she had. But fate doesn't consult you first. Whether I believed it or not, Ethan and Grace ended up together. In fact, I'd even helped them along. Back then Ethan had admission letters from both a Riverdale college and a university abroad. He'd wanted to stay and attend school with me. I didn't want him to give up his future for me, so I threatened to break up and pushed him away. Everything that followed was my own doing. Ethan chose the future I had urged on him. Yet here I was, unhappy. Are human beings always this contradictory? I even wondered if I was schizophrenic. The moment Grace stepped out of the fitting room, I stared. Wearing the gown, smiling that blissful smile, exactly how I'd pictured myself countless times in dreams. She paused when she saw me, then offered a gentle, fancy meeting you here. Since you're here, can you tell me, does this gown suit me? Her bright eyes held mine. In that instant something ugly stirred in me. I wanted to mock her, sting her, make her taste the bitterness I felt. But reason whispered, my pain isn't her fault. I can hate Ethan, I have no right to hate her. I smiled. It's perfect. Looks like the dress has found its rightful owner. Grace turned to Ethan. If Luna says yes, I guess I have to take it today. Ethan was already fishing out his wallet. How much? He asked offhandedly. Without hesitation I answered, 200,000. He blinked. Luna, don't joke, serious price. I was dead serious. I'm not joking. This is the only piece in the world. I made it for myself, but I don't need it anymore, or I wouldn't sell. Grace must have sensed the undercurrent. She glanced from me to Ethan, her expression turning awkward. Ethan, maybe we should skip it. You only wear a wedding gown once, maybe we can just rent. Without looking up he said, if you love it, it's worth it. Don't hesitate. When I took the card he held out, my mind went blank. Samantha gave me a covert thumbs up and whispered, way to go, sis, bleed that cheater dry. Only after the $200,000 Venmo transfer hit the account did it sink in. The boomerang I'd thrown had circled back and stabbed me instead of him. There was no glee, only a tighter knot in my throat. After the payment Ethan asked Grace to go on ahead. He said he hadn't seen me in so long that he just wanted to catch up. I took the hint and sent Samantha away, telling her to drive Grace home and to take the wedding gown with her. Once the boutique was empty except for Ethan and me, he dropped the gentlemanly act. He yanked off his tie in a frenzy and barked, Luna, what the hell do you think you're doing? If you've got a problem with me, say it to my face, stop pulling these childish stunts. I lifted my eyes to his. I'm not doing anything. I designed that wedding gown with my own hands, and I think it's worth every dollar. What's wrong with that? If you're broke, then get lost, quit pretending to be a big shot in front of me. Ethan stared at me, disappointment flooding his eyes. When did you turn into this? I rolled my eyes. You don't get to judge me. Don't forget, we already broke up. I turned my face away. Behind my back I dug my nails into my fingers, punishing myself so I wouldn't cry. I used to think life would imitate the novels. After betrayal you go full dark, slap Ethan twice, kick the heartless jerk aside, and stride alone to the summit of success. But I can't. The moment I see him, tears force their way out. The boy who once vowed to protect me forever now screams at me for another woman's sake. It isn't pity I feel, it's grief for the girl I used to be, naive enough to love someone like him. Maybe the saying is true, dreams and reality are exact opposites. Villains don't always get punished. Instead the wronged ones drown in self-blame they can't shake off. More than I hate Ethan for changing his heart, I hate myself for being so pathetic. Ethan seemed to read my helplessness. He said nothing more. A long silence swallowed the room. I crushed the last ember of tenderness I still felt for him and forced out the question that choked me. So this is what you meant by needing space? Does Grace know she's the other woman? Ethan frowned at me. Luna, what do you expect to gain from this? I don't love you anymore. Even without Grace, I wouldn't marry you. I'm tired, do you get that? My control snapped, I slapped him across the face. The crack rang out. Ethan froze, and after a long moment his face darkened. D rarely fought when we were growing up. His word had carried more weight than my parents'. When I was little and refused my medicine or school, Mom and Dad would haul Ethan over to supervise me. The habit stuck, even after we started dating I never broke it. I kept asking myself, when Ethan said he loved you, you beamed. Now that he says he's done, are you supposed to smile for him? My heart bled, but I couldn't scour up a single vicious line. In the end all I could manage, pathetic, was, just go. We're even. Ethan didn't argue. He only said, I hope you figure out where you stand. If you stay rational we can still be friends. If you keep acting like a child, let's not contact each other ever again. With that, he walked out without looking back. After the door shut I collapsed on the floor. Why is it always me who ends up defeated? Did I owe him something in a past life? This time, I chose to fight back. I bent over backward to befriend Grace. I even handcrafted the bridal bouquet for her wedding, all for this exact moment. The instant the bouquet touched her hands, her brows pinched. Only I noticed the faint red dots blooming on her exposed skin, spreading almost invisibly. Grace is allergic to cat hair. Jaime became my perfect weapon. I'd meant only to humiliate her at the ceremony, but she fainted outright. The wedding descended into chaos. My palms grew slick with sweat. I might have gone too far. When Ethan's gaze swept the room and landed on me, naked fury flashed across his face. I thought watching him lose control would feel good, but what I felt was guilt. After a long hesitation I decided to visit Grace in the hospital. When I walked in, she was pale, propped against the pillows, staring quietly at me. Scattered red spots still flecked her skin. Meeting her eyes, I lowered my head. Ethan must have guessed I was behind the stunt. He greeted me coldly. What are you doing here? Before I could answer, Grace spoke. Ethan, step out for a bit. I need tea. Oh, talk to Luna. Ethan looked annoyed, but for Grace he swallowed it, muttering, what's so secret you can't say it in front of me? Even though he grumbled, he obeyed and left. Only the two of us remained in the hospital room. I couldn't meet her eyes. I whispered, I'm sorry. She must have heard, her soft reply came at once. It's okay. I don't blame you. Before the last syllable faded, tears were sliding down my cheeks. I cursed myself for being so weak. I was supposed to hate her, so why can't I? Grace handed me a tissue and said gently, I don't know exactly what happened between you and Ethan, but I think I can imagine. The first time I saw you, I could tell the air between you and Ethan was off. You two didn't look like friends, didn't look like neighbors, you looked like a pair of lovers tied in knots. I asked Ethan, but all he said was that you'd once been together. He wouldn't tell me anything else. If you don't mind, you could fill in the blanks for me. Maybe I can help. Grace was as gentle as ever. Yet I cried until I couldn't breathe. I couldn't understand it. I'd already let go, hadn't I? So why did it still hurt this much? Those first nights after Ethan came back, I practically had a breakdown. Every time I closed my eyes I dreamed of us, always the same sweet opening, the same terrifying end. In every dream Grace was the demon who wrecked everything. I caught myself wishing, over and over, that she had never existed. Then the thought of my own malice would jolt me awake, drenched in cold sweat. I didn't know when I'd turned so vicious. I didn't know how to live with myself. All those pretty memories from childhood sliced at me like knives, carving up my world. The more I remembered, the more it hurt. Looking back now, everything I did when I lost control was so utterly worthless. Regret ebbed, guilt rolled in like a tide. I stayed in Grace's hospital room a long, long time. So long that Ethan started hovering outside, peeking in ever. Why few minutes, sure something had gone wrong. Grace turned into a brooding hen. The instant she spotted him she'd glare and shoo him off. He'd slink away, tail between legs. Their little act made me laugh aloud. And I realized, this was something Ethan and I had never had. I had only ever followed him around, swallowing my own feelings until I forgot I had any. No wonder he got tired, got bored. Grace was gentle, yes, but she had her own mind and spoke it, cleanly and completely. She had her own magnetism. I saw now why Ethan loved her. It was a softness that never bent. Human relationships are like a pair of earbuds left in a pocket, tug one side tighter and the knot only snarls until it's impossible to undo. Love breeds hate. Ethan hurt me, I hurt Grace. Somewhere it had turned into a vicious circle. Yet Grace snapped the circle the moment she stepped into it. She had some kind of magic. Anyone near her felt calmer without knowing why. At first I thought her serenity was an act. Then, that day in the hospital, it hit me. The reason I felt stalked by pain was that I'd made Ethan the center of my universe. I orbited him, so every twitch of his tugged at my emotions. When we were small, Ethan's world and mine had been tiny, only each other. When we grew up, his world expanded, mine stayed put. That was why I felt abandoned. If I was honest, Ethan owed me nothing. Everyone has the right to chase freedom, no one wants to drag ballast forever. To keep him I'd stopped being myself, I'd turned hysterical. In every fight I'd spewed the ugliest words I could find. Only after I lost him did I finally see, my world kept turning without him. I could live perfectly well without him. I had parents who loved me, a career of my own, partners who fought beside me. I was fine, happy, even without Ethan. After she checked out, Grace didn't hold a reception lunch, she simply gathered family and friends for a quiet meal. She never exposed me in front of anyone. She left me the last scrap of dignity. Before she left town she handed the wedding gown back to me. I really do love it, she said, but I think it belongs to you. May you find your own happiness and walk down the aisle soon. Watching the two of them walk away, I felt something inside me loosen and clear. I archived the gown in storage. It had finished its job, it had found the one it truly fit. I thought life would simply reset. But Jaime's withdrawal grew worse. After Ethan abandoned him a second time, he began refusing food outright. He starved until he didn't even have the strength to bare his teeth at me, yet still he would not eat. I took him to every vet in Riverdale. Nothing helped. The doctor said he was depressed. Medication would only add pain, better to stay with him, maybe a turn would come. I clung to that last thread, keeping vigil 24 hours a day. Yet he seemed to hate me even more, would not lift his head to look at me. On the 18th day after Ethan left, Jaime slipped away. I buried him, together with the plain band and the memories buried deepest, under the maples near Ethan's riverfront mansion. Goodbye, my past, stay buried forever. Thank you for listening to today's story. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more wonderful stories. See you next time.